Welcome back to the Glaze Studios oil painting tutorial. I am Gomati Sivasankaran. We are in class 13 of the Radha Krishna painting. This is a large canvas painting that we have been doing. Let me just quickly go over a recap of what we have been doing so far, and then we will get to the task for today. Yes, this is a large canvas painting that we are working together on, starting with the basic of how to address a canvas, how to work with a canvas, and doing the first wash or layer, and also planning references, looking forward to having different references, and so on, and gridding, strategizing, doing the superstructure or the structure of the characters, and then starting to work with blocking phase, which is the layer 2, where we just assign some color ranges to each and every space and say this is blocked for this purpose and so on. We did that. We are now in layer 3. We are in the layer 3 where we are trying to enhance that layer 2 that we did with depth. So layer 3 is now focusing on depth. And just to clarify, does this mean that this is how layers have to be worked on, or should we not try it differently? The answer is yes, anything is possible. There is no hard and fast rule. What I am trying to teach you is that every single nuance of an artwork is broken down into pieces for you, that's easily digestible, for you as an artist to understand how that happened, the transition happened. Um, if if I may say so, it's also possible to do everything that we are doing in so many layers in just one layer, one slot, and be done with it. That is also possible, but right now I am breaking it down into layers to help you visualize, to help you see better on how is that growing. Yeah, where is this growing into? How was it looking last? Layer was so flat, and now we begin to see a little bit of dimensions and depth, and then it will grow even more. So we will do that. Yeah, that's exactly the reason why I am breaking it down to pieces. And to be honest, this is the way I would also continue to work, even if I'm totally off camera, because I would like to break it down as simply as possible and see where things are growing and go along with it. There are people who like to work on, let's say, for example, working on the face of Krishna and saying, okay, that's the part I will work on today, and making it perfectly final, and then moving on to the next place and next place and next place and so on. That is also another method that is perfectly all right. Yeah. The way I would like to see growth is that overall growth in the whole of the 60 by 80 centimeter or whatever centimeters of cloth that I am working on. The reason why we try to grow along with it, layer by layer, is that you are not struck with a micro level point of view and missing the big picture of how the whole painting should look like. Why is this important? It's because I have seen amazing artwork, bright colors or very perfect colors, and so many things, missing proportions. I personally have done such mistakes many times. It's because of the anxiety that we have to have things so beautifully done, aesthetically done. Maybe in one corner you give a total effort, too much of energy, and then another corner you do something else, and then there is inconsistency growing into the picture. Somehow, somewhere down the lane, we have missed the beat and there is a proportion error. I have seen it. I've seen those mistakes happening with my own hands, and I'm just saying, why did I miss this when I am ready to sign the picture? Still, I sign it, I know that I have made mistakes and I sign it as a learning that, okay, next time I will try to not do the same mistake again. Yeah. So that's the learning. We all miss big picture. And I will talk about it on the go today while we are working on this because we are now really eager to working on some nice colors. Yeah. um, so let's just quickly look at the areas that we could work on today. I think I will start working on uh, the uh, the clothing of Krishna and also the blouse that she's wearing, Radha is wearing, which is so similar. And then this is another cloth that they are seated in. It's not a cloth; it is it's a cushioned seat, yeah, and the swing, it's a cushioned swing. So we try to work on that also a little bit, and then we will come to few other places as we go along. Let's see how far we can manage that today. Right now I'm going to um, make this camera come to the front for you, and let's look at the lovely colors that we are going to work on today. We are going to work on yellow for the dhoti that he is wearing. It's called dhoti, um, and it looks like a pajama, but it is a long cloth that is worn like a pajama, and that's what he is wearing. So I'm going to use this, but to this I will add few other colors if I want. I think I might add vermilion to brighten up the yellow wherever needed, make it slightly orangish. I do have, I think I have uh, yellow ochre as well to add to give another tonality or shade to it. And then uh, now I'm searching for it. Yes, I have it. It's called cadmium orange. It's a beautiful color. However, be aware it's a cadmium. Remember, I think I have talked about it in one of those earlier videos. If not, just listen. Anything cadmium or oxide or so is not so good for your health. So be sure that you are in a ventilated place, and also you're cleaning up your hands properly. There are people that prefer to wear gloves. I would definitely say yes to that. Although I don't have that habit. It's even better to wear a gloves or something. So I might use this color as well. So I have three variations of tonalities because of the permanent yellow, lemon, and cadmium orange, and yeah, yellow ochre if I need. Yeah. So I'm going to give some variation wherever needed. That's going to be for the clothing that he has. And then the moment I'm done with that, I might add a bit of green to it. I have uh, the earth green also. I might take olive green um, if I need. Yeah, I have olive green as well here. This is from another brand called Van Gogh. It's there in the description. Yes. So I might take these greens to try um, for the clothing. Yes, that's about the colors. The palette is the same, no change with the palette. I have some titanium white ready, though I haven't mentioned it. I will need titanium white, and I have something ready here, so I will use that. And the brushes, I think I will go for um, a zero brush just in case I need to work on some nuance. And I have brush numbers. I'm looking forward to having an angular brush. I like angular brushes. These angular brushes, doesn't matter what size they are, they always give you that edge to do some strokes and so on that I would like to have in clothing especially. I have that, and I have brush number 3 and 4 Yeah, with me. I think these are more than enough for now to work with. Okay, so that's about all the materials that we are going to use today. Let's just have a look at things. Any adjustments from the last class? I think I did it in a hurry though, but we essentially have filled out um, the sections that we did, yeah, in the last class. So I think I am now ready to get started with the yellow. So I'm going to take this nice primary yellow, and for your benefit, I'm going to move the camera completely, focusing the palette. So you get to see that I have yellow with me. There's white already present. Cadmium orange, a little bit of it, and yellow ochre. I'm not sure I'll use it, but I would like to have it ready with me in case I feel okay, I might use it as well here. So I'm going to have yellow ochre added a little bit here. Yes. So I think I have what I need in terms of the colors to start with. And in this painting, we are doing yellow for the first time, isn't it? So I have something to tell you. Yellow is one of those translucent colors. Translucent, you know? Translucent color, meaning the color is so thin, the pigment is so thin that you could see through it. That's why I'd like to add a little bit of white. So if you see me adding a bit of white to it, it's just to cut down on the translucent, because and also it gets too bright, and I would like to have it slightly toned down. So that's why I'm doing this. Yeah. So I think you're able to see that now. And now we are ready to go back to Krishna, and let's do this coloring. So it will look similar to what we have done um, previously in those areas. Might be, it's just getting brightened up because of the layer, or you are able to hide those grid lines because of the content that we have right now. The yellow that isn't so translucent anymore, adding on to the white because of the white. That could happen. So I'm going to add very tiny, tiny bit of yellow ochre in those places that are very close to Radha, to just give an angle to it. Um, I'm blending that with the yellow. It looks like I have done really nothing, because I'm just taking a very tiny bit of the color to mix with the yellow. Mhm. So it's not a load of yellow ochre. I'm just adding a very tiny bit, only on the tip of the brush. Yes, that's how I'm doing it. Yeah. Okay, good. So this is how I'm going to do the entire leg. Juggling between these brushes, I have the angular brush and the round brush number 3, and angular brush with the lemon or permanent lemon yellow, and mixed with a bit of titanium white. And this one is for only for the tip that I'm using. Sorry, mm, only the tip that I'm using of this brush with yellow ochre. So I'm going to be juggling between these two. So you see me filling out this place. Moment it comes down, I'm going to move the camera around so you get a good angle. If we go section by section, it looks um, easy. So we are not worrying about so many other things that are maybe wrong or that are in that need, attention. For now, we are focusing on, yes, there's so many things that need attention. I agree, but we are focusing on one of the sections only. Yeah. So that's how we are structuring, yeah, and saying to ourselves, we are going to work on only this today. Yeah. So this is done. I'm going again with the round brush 3, taking only the tip of my brush to the paint and slightly adding the yellow ochre there. Yeah. And while I add, you see the kind of movement that I am making from right to left. You will see why I'm making that even better when I add another color to this. Okay. I am going to use this very same brush. Go back to cadmium orange. The tip of the brush has cadmium orange. And I want to keep the camera here to show you some important angles. And this is where, again, I am slightly not in agreement with the angle here. I will tell you the angle of the clothing. Yeah. Remember, we said we changed the angle slightly of the leg, which means the angle of the clothing will also change. Look at the way it's moving from here. It is going from down towards the upper side of the leg. Yeah. So they are falling down like that. But if we are giving it slightly this angle, yes, it will be like that on the thigh, but the more and also the kind of clothing that they have built, it looks like almost like a skirt here. But we are trying to give the pajama effect, which means it's pulling itself up. It's pulling itself up like this. So it's pulling up because of the way he's seated and the force of the air and so on. Yeah, because of the swing that they are in. So I'm just drawing some thin lines for you to see the angle that I'm trying to portray here. So I want to show this angle and then the curve. So the clothing is, yeah, it's curvy, but look at the angle of the curve that I have made deliberately for you to see. I usually like to blend it, but I want to show it to you, and that's why I'm just deliberately doing this. So you get to see how things work here. This is how I want to show uh, the leg area, the clothing on the leg area, and then wherever so lightly I want to build the that curve. It's not so curvy here, but it comes out ever so lightly here. I'm showing it in. Can you see the angle changes here? That's the angle that I want to build. Mhm. So this is the angle, and I'm going to develop the angle in just a bit. Um, let's do the other leg as well. Yeah. So I am going back to the lemon yellow angular brush mixed with a little bit of titanium white to cut down on the translucence. Yeah. So let's now go all the way to the other leg. So I'm starting with the thigh area, filling in this space. I'm just thinking, what is this angle supposed to be? Yes, it's supposed to be like this. Yeah. I'm correcting on the go. So I'm just thinking where the clothing should be. What is the angle of it? I'm moving my brush accordingly. Yes. And it goes into a wide angle because he is, really his knee is standing up like that. So it really goes up. The cloth goes up along with that knee, isn't it? So just imagine that you could. These are, of course, we are referencing with pictures, but I would say you also see for yourself how you are seated and how is the cloth that you are wearing, bending accordingly. These are all basics that we can learn from our own selves. Yeah. And also remember the angle here. I'll show you even better when I add. What will I add? Cadmium orange, that you could see that angle even better. So I'm just going on filling this space of his leg that's covered by this dhoti, the clothing, with the yellow. Yes. Okay, this is making a lot of noise, so I'm going to just bring this down. Okay, so I have filled in yellow. I'm going to take a little bit of tiny bit of the yellow ochre and do the same thing, just like, where is that darker area? It's not too dark, but it is slightly because of the fold, in between the leg, the calves, and the thigh. So I want to build that. Yeah. So very ever so lightly I have added. It doesn't really show much on the camera because it's almost, blending itself with the yellow. Okay, I'm going to take the round brush with cadmium orange so you can see better. I'm going to make some long angles. Can I show you? So this is one long angle that I'm showing that. Does it feel good that that's how the cloth falls? And how does it go around? It is just going around like that. Yeah, that's the curve. Yeah, and the way this falls down, those angles I'm trying to build. So I have built the angles that I need. That looks fair enough for me, and I'm going to work on it even further. So I take a little more of the cadmium orange now and blend those colors into these angles that I made. Just like the way we blended another color to show the angle of the clothing that she's, the way it is flowing and all. In case of Radha, we are only repeating the same thing for Krishna. And in this case, we are using cadmium orange on top of the primary yellow with titanium white and yellow ochre wherever needed. Yes. So we create that ever so light angle. Yeah, I have blended in this color here of the cadmium orange. It doesn't look so bright, but it is still giving us that angle that we need. We will hold on to those angles. And if you are comparing it to what you see here and wondering, oh, there seems to be so many, folds in the cloth. Yeah, we might want to have that. That's also okay. But for now, we are essentially focusing on the key curves. We are not doing any more details as yet. So the key curves and just leaving it like that. So not too many curves or too many folds in the cloth versus what we see in the picture. Yes, we are now ready to take green. I am going to take olive green and I will blend this a little with the yellow. So I'm going to show you what I'm doing right now. So this green is blended ever so lightly with the remaining yellow. I haven't taken fresh yellow, whatever I had, I have just used it, blended it in. Again, this olive green that I have is translucent, so it doesn't really hurt to add a little bit of titanium white to lighten it up. And because of the yellow, it gets into a very lighter, leaf green tonality. And this is good enough for me to do the remaining clothing here. Yes, I'm not going to go into the details of this clothing, but I can show you that this is one of the top clothing that goes around the hip, and maybe that also comes in between the legs a little bit. So that's what it is. And I've not taken too much of the color because I don't see the need for it also, at least at this juncture. All right, I have done that. And right now I'm going to use same green for Radha's blouse. So I'm just going to go to her hand area, fill in that space, and a bit of her, yeah, underarm, the shoulder line. Sorry, not the shoulder line, the underarm and the side, yeah, of her body. Fill that in, yeah. These are slightly brighter than the colors that we had before, so it's good for me. And I'm going to see, now I want to experiment with this, and I want to add to that green a bit of yellow ochre to give it that earth kind of, the greeny brown earth kind of look. I like this combination that I want to use for the seat of the swing. And I will just fill that in, yeah. I haven't changed any brushes so far. I'm good with this angular brush, and yeah. Filling this side in. What is it that's important to us? The darkened area. I want to add a little bit more of the yellow ochre on very close to Radha's body to kind of show that it is slightly dark. I will work on the depth later, but I just want that difference to happen for now. So I am doing that, adding ever so lightly the yellow ochre, but not going into that level of depth as yet. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side of the uh, swing. Yes, that's where you can see where Krishna is seated. There is some part of the swing that is visible, isn't it? So let's do that. But be mindful, the green mustn't mix with the green of the clothing that he has. This is slightly different color. This is mixed with the yellow ochre, so it's more towards the earth color. All right. Last but not the least portion here. I am running out of the color, but I think I can still manage from what we have here. So, all right. Did it? Okay, good. So right now, I want to go working on the jewelry sections, but not into the depth of the jewelry, but the same thing, giving those shades and tonalities. We already have yellow ochre with us, and that is perfect. I will add a bit of cadmium orange to the yellow ochre. That will give, so I'm just showing you this. So to the yellow ochre, I have added a bit of cadmium orange. So it's not orangey, but it is on a brighter side of the yellow ochre. So I like this color to be coming up in the areas wherever we have jewelry or gold. Yeah. So jewelry, definitely we can see wherever it is. And gold, other than the jewelry, is on the clothing. The borders of the clothing have gold in it. So even those places will have to be covered. I want to take another darker tonality color and keep it ready in another brush. I'll show you. I'm going to take burnt umber. That is right here, burnt umber. And I will use the same angular brush for that. Um, let's take burnt umber and keep it ready. So two colors. One is that yellow ochre mixed with cadmium orange, and the other is burnt umber for the light and dark coloring of wherever we see the jewelry. And one may ask, for ones who are maybe doing jewelry for the first time, and you'll be really wondering, oh Lord, why so much of jewelry? Oh, they are a lot, definitely. We really this tradition. It's not just lot. I think Indian tradition also has a very much aesthetic and beauty to, and what do you call, interest towards having gold jewelry and the tradition. I'm seeing those tradition is also there in uh, is also present in other parts of the world. So this is a part of the culture, and also from a painting point of view, there's a lot of aspects to take care of, aesthetics to take care of, to work on a portrait loaded with jewelry. That's also a good challenge to work on. So I'm going to do the filling. Now that I have added that cadmium orange, it gets slightly brightened. Maybe you can add a little more of cadmium orange if you want to see it more bright, but I don't want it to get too orangey also. Just be aware of that. We want to add it. Maybe it will look like peach. For me, it feels like, is it peach or is it yellow ochre? But it is okay. Um, there will be other colors coming up on top of it, but I'm just filling that space. Then I'm working on Krishna's crown now. That was easy to fill in. I'm not going to do anything about the, that's not a jewelry. What is that? That's the peacock feather. I'm not going to do anything about it now. It is just the crown that I worked on. Once I did the crown, I am going to work on the crown again with burnt umber in another brush. Where are the angles? I'm looking at darker shades, slightly darkening it up in those places where there is shadow falling. So you see on camera that, yeah, you see it. You're able to see it. So it is slightly darker. It doesn't have a clear definition of what is there, but it starts looking that, looking like there is some dark areas around. Mhm. So this looks fine for me. I'm going to continue doing these two colors. So starting with the yellow ochre mixed with cadmium orange on brush number 3 again, working on what is there, the earring that he is wearing. Yeah, men also wear earrings. I think the fashion comes and goes. And I want to just work on the necklace or all the neck ornaments. I'm filling in that place very easily with the help of my round brush. Number 3 with the yellow ochre mixed with cadmium orange. And once the filling is done, I push back to my angular brush with burnt umber. And now let's look at I'm having my reference picture right here underneath me, so that is fine. I would definitely advise you to have it with you if you are not so sure. Um, about where to darken. In case if you are still, wondering, okay, I want to understand the logic of darkening and not, what is going on in the picture. So let's look at the logic. Yeah. So on top of the um, jewelry, what do we see? There is this garland. So there must be a shadow of the garland. So I'm just going to, so I'm not seeing anything. I'm just guessing all those places where there will be shadow of the garland falling on the neck piece. Yeah. Okay. That I did. Yeah. The center place is brighter, I would say. Um, I just want to give a very ever so light angle to that edge. It's not too dark. It's ever so light. So I'm just giving that curve an angle. That's it. I'm not doing anything else. And on the earring, the part that is close to his body is going to be darker because of his cheek, the shadows falling on the cheek. There is this darker portion. You can try doing that. So, even without seeing, we could at least give some basic level shades. We're just using logic. Yeah. And we are not shading too much in the middle because that's where I feel the light is falling. So, this is supposed to be a slightly brighter area as opposed to that corners. So that's how I did it. Now I'm going back with the same color. I need a little bit of yellow ochre. It's getting really orangey out here. Mhm. Mixing the yellow ochre with cadmium orange. I think we have got enough now to fill the remaining areas. Okay, good. So let's go. Where else? We did the crown, the earring, the necklace, armbands. Let's fill the armband on the top. Looks like a bangle, huh? Filling in the space. There's an armband here on his other hand. So we are running around between angles, huh? And then we'll come to his hip area. I'm filling in that belt sort of a thing that he is wearing with the yellow ochre mixed with cadmium orange. So that's where I make a stop and push myself again into the burnt umber. Mm. Okay, I have burnt my umber ready. How are we going to shade? Let's look at the arm and the armlet, or what do we call this in the hand? Whatever that is, I don't remember the name of it. I'm just looking at it from the bottom of it, and I'm shading it ever so lightly here and leaving it there because that's where the maybe the sunlight isn't falling really well. So that's the darker area. And also the hand, I'm just starting with the other side of the hand. Yeah, so I did that. This hand is just a little funny. It could be on the brighter side, but also it has a shadow coming from Radha's hand, so I'm just giving it a ever so light angle to it. Yeah. What about the hip? It's interesting, isn't it? It is hidden. This jewelry is hidden, but then the angle is coming from, there is this shadow coming from his own leg falling onto the belt, the golden belt. So I'm just doing that and shading it ever so lightly, just like the way we shaded this portion. So I did that. Moving back to the round brush with yellow ochre and cadmium orange. I'm going to use this now on Radha's jewelry. Can we go slightly faster? We know this pace. I'm going to just mark everything first with this brush. I'm just filling in, just like the way we filled in the previous layer. That is easy, filling in. Just be careful if you need a smaller brush to fill in all these nuances that she is wearing. Okay, that's I to be honest, I don't wear all these jewelry at all to know the names of it clearly, but there are many jewelries that is worn on the head along with the crown that looks like they're attached to the crown. Yes, and then I'm coming to her earrings, the necklace on her chest. Yes, on the upper body area there is also um, the border of her sari that is gold. So I'm just doing that. Going back to the border of her blouse. Yeah. Border of her sari, border of her blouse. And remember the bangle that she is wearing. Right. The sari border here. Isn't that easy that we have marked it in our previous, blocking layer? So we don't have to really take the help of our reference now. We can manage without it. For some of you that feels okay, I still need the reference, please do have a look at it. There's no hard and fast rule that you mustn't look into the reference at all. Okay. So right now I'm moving back to her saree's border, which is seen here in between this mala or the garland that she is wearing, and it's coming out here. Yes, that's how it is here. And also the border of her clothing on the, thigh area, bringing it down further. So this time I haven't juggled back with the other brush, but I have just filled out all these sections real quick. So I could go back to the angular brush with burnt umber. What am I to do now? Going back and shading. Yeah, let's look at the logic. The shade falls on the back of the crown. So that's even darker as compared to the front of the crown. So I'm going to do that here. Yeah. And then the front of the crown has a shade on this because of the front view here that's coming. There is this angle of shade that is coming from Krishna falling onto her side. Okay, I think I missed something. Um, Her ear is also partly covered. It has to be covered because of jewelry, which I did not do in the previous. So I'm just doing it ever so lightly here. I'm looking at the reference and adding that. If you haven't done so, please do. And then now I'm moving back to the burnt umber and doing the shading. In the earring, also the side of the earring that is close to her body. The necklace that she's wearing has ever so lightly, just like this necklace of Krishna. It's got a shade, but it doesn't have too much of shade because it's directly hitting the light. Mhm. Now let's go to um, bangles. Again, the angle is towards the right side. That's where I begin to see the angle of depth and darkness. So I'm doing that. I see the same thing happening on the blouse's border. We can show some depth on the back of the shoulder, uh, the border there, ever so lightly borders are defined here. The shadows of the garland is falling on the border, so that's also a place to look at. So I did that. The angle of the hip, the thigh, yes. So we have managed some shades here. We do the jewelry on their foot and also the gold part of their clothing. Hmm? So I am moving back to the yellow ochre mixed with cadmium orange, going to fill in that place of their clothing and also the jewelry that they are wearing. Right. Jewelry on their foot, on Radha's foot, and her nice, beautiful skirt or sari has a beautiful border spacing that I'm filling out. with yellow ochre and cadmium orange. So right now I'm going to go back to the burnt umber with the angular brush and let's do the shading. Starting with Krishna's clothing. Where do you think the shade is? There is the one that sunlight cannot see. Just think where the sunlight cannot see. So that's an easy angle to do, isn't it? So doing that. Coming down to the other leg, the same logic. Where is the sunlight falling short? Remember the folds, wherever the angles are, remember the folds accordingly. And those folds will have the darker shades. Yeah. So I'm just looking at the curve, which part of the curve will miss the light and hence be slightly darker. Think of that fold. Yeah. Yes. We have one more element here. The sari pallu also having the same problem of where exactly is that shade falling. Okay. I think I am done with it. It looks okay. So to summarize what we did today, so we are continuing on the third layer. Today we worked on Krishna's dhoti, Radha's blouse, and also we moved on to work on the swings um, body, if I may say so, or the seat. We worked quite a bit on the jewelry and the gold in their clothing. Yeah. And we, while we did it, we only tried to give that depth wherever possible to just subtly, define where there could be slight depth. Yeah. We have done that. Um, the next class, we will continue to work on the same logic and define a bit of the clothing that is still left over. There is one part of it here that is left over that he is wearing. We will work on that. Um, Once that is done, we are going to basically move into the swings rope because that has a lot of elements that we did not really focus on while drawing. We are going to work on that, start building it, and then work on the background. We are not going to work anymore on the garland. Um, that will be one of the last that we will work on actually. So otherwise, the focus is going to be yes on the side of the ropes of the swing, uh, the remaining clothing, ropes of the swing, and once we are done, go back again to the overall background of the canvas. That's what we are going to do in the next class. Let's see how far we reach to that. Thank you very much for following this through and trying to make an effort to learn. I am just noticing one mistake. I don't know if you have noticed it already and thinking, oh, she's not done it at all. I did. Can you see that I haven't done the gold on his clothing here? Okay, I can hear you shouting and saying you didn't complete that part. Yes, so I did that ever so lightly. Slightly gold that should go along with this. So I did that, and then I'm adding the burnt umber. Yes, did it. Yeah. So now we are officially done with the class number 13. Thank you very much for following through and trying to do this. Oh, good luck for your next sessions. And if you have already done so much and want to share something with me, please remember to write to support at theglazestudio.dk. Any questions, comments, feedback, also do that to support at theglazestudio.dk. Looking forward to listening to you, listening to your feedback, and maybe trying to make some changes there. Thank you very much.